Welcome back to my channel, guys, and today we're going to be making butter chicken. This recipe is guaranteed to give you amazing results every single time. So for this recipe, I use about 500 grams of chicken breast. You could use chicken thighs, anything accessible to you. You could use that. Okay, so I add in a cup of Greek yogurt, and then I add in a mix of spice. So this spice contains some paprika, some cumin, some chicken stock cubes, some chili powder, some garam masala. I added all that and then I mixed it together and I added it to my chicken. And then I'm also going to be adding in a bit of vegetable oil, and then I'm going to give this a good mix. Now you want to mix this and you want to let this to marinate for about 30 minutes, or if you could leave it for more, by all means please do, but if you're like me and you are very impatient, just 30 minutes is fine. So you're going to get your skillet and then you're going to put in some vegetable oil, and I'm going to proceed to add in some chopped onions. So these onions, I'm using the white onions. You could use the purple onions, any onions that is available to you. It would not matter, trust me. So now I'm going to be toasting up some. I'm also going to be adding in some cashew nuts. I'm adding in some cinnamon sticks. I'm adding in some bay leaf and some garlic cloves. Okay, so you want to fry this with onions for some time. So I fried this for about a minute or two. You don't need it to burn, you just need it to, you just need to toast it up a bit. And then the next thing I'm going to be adding in is my bell peppers. So once I fry this up for about a minute or two, I'm going to go with my bell peppers. I'm using red bell peppers and yellow bell peppers for this recipe. Trust me, if you follow this recipe to a T, you are guaranteed a perfect butter chicken every time. So once you go in with your bell peppers, I'm going to be adding in some chopped tomatoes. Now make sure that your tomatoes are fully ripe so that your butter chicken is not tasting sour. So that's not what you want. Okay, so I add in my chopped tomatoes, and then I'm going to be adding in some chili powder, some paprika, basically the same seasonings that I use to season my chicken is what I'll be adding into this veggie mix. So I add in some chili powder, some paprika, some curry powder, some chicken stock cubes, some garam masala. I'm just going to add everything into this and I'm going to fry this properly. So I'm going to let this fry, and then I'm going to add in some water, about 2 cups of water, and I'm going to let the water cook my nuts and basically release the flavors from the spices that I have added. I'm going to let this cook till the water reduces, like the water reduces and my tomatoes and everything is very soft. Now the reason why I'm doing this is because I'm going to blend my mixture and I'm going to sieve it. So don't be worried about the fact that I'm adding in cinnamon sticks and all that, and you're wondering, oh, the sauce is going to be too clumpy. We are going to sieve this into a smooth paste. So I add in my water, as you can see, and then I'm going to let it cook and reduce before I start blending up my mixture, as you can see here. So I basically add in my cooked veggies. Once it's cooled down, you have to let it cool down so that you do not spoil your blender. So I add in the everything that I just cooked into my blender, and then I'm also going to be adding in some tomato paste. So I added in about a tablespoon of tomato paste, a tablespoon and half. I don't really measure, but I could give you an estimate. So I added in about a tablespoon and half of tomato paste to this, and then I'm going to blend this until it is smooth and very creamy. Okay, so you don't want a lot of particles. Obviously there are going to be particles inside, but like in your, to the naked eye, it should look really smooth. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to blend this up using my blender. I'm using a heavy duty blender. You could use any blender that you have at home that is going to be able to blend this until it is smooth. Now I feel like any blender would be able to do that because you've already cooked your veggies beforehand, and because of that, those nuts and every other thing are very soft and it's going to be easy for you to blend. So you can see here that this is very smooth, and then I'm going to proceed to strain it in my strainer. So you need a strainer that has very tiny holes, just like the one I'm using. You could use any one that has similar holes, but it has to be a strainer that has very tiny holes. If it's not tiny, these particles that you're seeing here that come from the bay leaf, the cinnamon sticks and all that are going to pass through, and you do not want that. Okay, your butter chicken is meant to be silky smooth, buttery, and very, very flavorful. Okay, so now once we're done with that, we're going to proceed to frying our chicken that we marinated earlier. So to fry up a chicken, I'm going to add in a tiny bit of vegetable oil to my pan, and then I'm doing that because I had already added vegetable oil when I was marinating my chicken. So once I add in the chicken into the pan, the chicken is going to release its like the oil that I had already added to bind the marinade together. Okay, so you don't want to put too much oil into your pan. Bear in mind you're still going to be using butter later. Okay, so you're going to fry this in your pan. I fried mine for about 5 to 10 minutes. You're going to sear this till the water from the chicken and everything completely reduces, and you are left with this very, very thick, creamy, sauced chicken, if that's what I will call it. So once you're left with that, you're going to be adding in your blended mixture that you sieved earlier into the chicken. Okay, so butter chicken is actually very, very easy to make. So you're going to be adding in this mix that you blended and you sieved earlier. You add it into the chicken, and then you're going to give this a good mix. And once you do that, you're going to add in your butter. So for this, I used about I'm trying to give an estimate because, as I said, I don't measure when I'm cooking. So I used about 2 tablespoons of butter into this recipe. If I'm going to try to give you an estimation, okay? So I added in about 2 tablespoons of butter to this recipe. So I'm going to give this a good mix. Once I add in my butter, obviously once you add in your butter is going to melt, so you don't have to melt it beforehand to add into the pot. So I give this a good mix. I stir it around. You could taste it to make sure if you need to add anything. Now the reason I'm not adding in salt here is because the chicken stock, that's the chicken cube that I told you I use chicken seasoning powder. The chicken seasoning I use has salt inside, so as at this point I didn't need to add anything. It was perfect, like perfect. Okay, so you need to test yours. If you need to add a bit of salt or seasoning cubes, you could do that. And then I add in some heavy cream. That thing you just saw me add is heavy cream. As I said, butter chicken is not for when you want to eat healthy. It is far from that. It is very, 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 very sinfully good. Okay, so once I add in my butter chicken, I give it a good mix, and as at this point, my butter chicken is ready. I set this into my pan, and then I top it up just for presentation. I top it up with some drizzle of heavy cooking cream, and now I ate this with some naan bread that I made. Let me know in the comment section if you want me to drop the recipe for my naan bread. It is very simple, very easy, very fluffy, and it went so good with this butter chicken. Also, let me know what other recipes you would want me to be uploading on this channel. This is my first video, and I hope you guys like it so much. Thank you. Until next time, bye.